Hello, welcome to this update for the Atlantic. So we now have some different storms on the board. Like we have still Tropical Depression Joyce. It's now a Tropical Depression, so it's weakening. We have new Tropical Storm Kirk there in the main development region. We have this next area already at a high chance of development there. 80% next 7 days. Showers and thunderstorms have increased associated with tropical wave, located a few hundred miles south of the Cabo Verde Islands. Upper level winds are forecast to become more conducive for gradual development. Tropical depression is likely to form in a few days, while move slowly west toward the eastern tropical Atlantic. So we better monitor this maybe for the Caribbean, but still nothing is certain yet. There's this Caribbean system at 40%, so it was at 50%, but it's now at 40%. So because most of the models are showing like only a disorganized system in the Gulf, but still a tropical depression could form in a few days. But we're very uncertain with that, and there's still Isaac there, the remnants of Isaac. So let's see. Here, the remnants of Isaac, they'll just go out and die there. Might leave some rain in Europe, and the model showed this heading like affecting like Europe, some rain there. The hurricane in other models shows like going north near Iceland and other areas, but maybe a rainmaker, but nothing crazy. And tropical storm and a weakening, but some models keep like some tropical storm strength, but it's now the remnants, but it still shows tropical storm because the wind speeds are still tropical storm strength, but it's not tropical anymore. It's disorganized. So there's Isaac and there's Kirk, the new one. So the track has getting to major hurricane by Wednesday already. It's now a tropical storm, expected to reach major hurricane strength by Wednesday. So this could be a big ace maker there, but staying out to sea, hopefully. So, and most models show it heading away from Bermuda too. This might just curve out into the Atlantic. So major hurricane, and most models just take it north there, and yeah, and curving it eventually eastward later. Most models have a true category 3, some are weaker, but some have true category 4 as well, and even one has true category 5, so we'll keep tracking this, but no threat for land as of now. So let's see. There's Joyce, still tropical depression, and forecast to just weaken and die there. So nothing crazy from that. The models take the remnants of Joyce near Europe and the Azores, but it might just bring some rain there and some wind, but nothing that crazy. And tropical depression, some models re-strengthen into tropical storms, so we better watch that. And let's see, there's the GFS model, there's Kirk, and there's Joyce, kind of dying, but it turns like into a front and maybe leaves rain in the Azores in Europe. But there's Kirk goes, the GFS takes this all the way to like 950 millibars, category 3 or 4, like category 4. And then Kirk goes there, and it might affect the Azores later or even become a big extratropical cyclone towards Europe, so better watch. There's the new system forming, the GFS curves it away from the Caribbean, so that's good news. So both of the systems just going out into the Atlantic. There's the European, let's see if it has something different. So there's Joyce, so it kind of goes and dies there and attaches it to that front, and that big extratropical cycle might leave some rain in the Azores by October 4th, so October 3rd, October 4th, so better watch. And then there's Kirk there. It goes and the European strengthened this all the way to like 958 millibars, category 3, so a big system, potential for Europe later, but big system there in the Atlantic. So let's see. There's the next system after it. The European gets it close to the Caribbean, but it might eventually just curve north. So, but this is still very close. We better monitor. And there's the icon. It shows Isaac there, the remnants of Isaac goes, and there'll be like that moisture clinging to like southern part of Isaac, and then you blast him some rain to Spain there. So we'll make a video about that later tonight. There's that front from like Joyce that might affect the Azores with some rain by October 4th, And there's these two big systems. There's Kirk, goes all the way to 933 by the icon, so the icon is very crazy. And there's the other system there, 955, so the icons are just blasting major hurricanes out there. But this one's major hurricane for sure. That one, still not sure about it. But it might just curve north, but it's also kind of close to the Caribbean, so better watch. And there's the Gulf system. It's just a 40% chance, but the icon does get something in the southwestern Gulf, maybe a depression or a storm, and tries to go towards Florida later, and something definitely on the eastern Pacific maybe. So we keep monitoring. There's the Canadian, it has Joyce kind of dying, and the front in the Azores by October 4th. And it has like Isaac, the rain in Spain, and some rain maybe near Ireland and the UK by October 5th because of those big extratropical systems. There's Kirk. The Canadian doesn't strengthen Kirk much, only to 974, but it does strengthen a little bit. And there's the next system. The Canadian passes are very dangerously close to the Caribbean, but it might just like curve north, but like the European had it in a similar spot as well. So we better keep monitoring, but what I think you will do, like pass very close and then curve north there. But it might pass close, but the GFS had it curving out much faster than these other models, but we better keep monitoring in case this trends south towards the Caribbean, but I don't think that will happen. And let's see, there's the Canadian on the Eastern Pacific, tries to form something towards Mexico, and on the Gulf, forms something very weak and disorganized towards Florida. So we watch that. There's the European for the Caribbean system. Doesn't show anything crazy, just on the Eastern Pacific, maybe some depressions, and there on the Gulf it shows some disorganized motion. Might try to get itself together by October 7th near Florida. So Florida has to watch for a potential like rainmaker, but nothing more than a tropical storm. And there's the GFS. It gets the system there in the Caribbean kind of disorganized. It might take a while to form and not become anything. So the GFS not very excited, but it is excited about the heavy rain in Mexico and the Eastern Pacific, so be careful. And let's see. There's the European model for like the dry air, still some dry air there near the Caribbean, but where Kirk is at, you go and to a good environment. So but there's still like some dry air near Africa, but the storms are generally in a good area, just near the Caribbean, some dust there. But let's see. There's the GFS as well, and like the wind shear, there's still some wind shear there in the Atlantic, but where Kirk and the other one is at, you'll get better, especially where the other one is at. So shows wind shear around it, but generally survives. So later it might run into more wind shear by October 6 as it goes north into the Atlantic. But now that there might be outflow, it's good. And then yeah, so be aware, but nothing that crazy. So there's the ensembles here. The European, it has this, like it has most ensembles going just into the Atlantic, nothing crazy, but it has like category 4, category 5, category 3 in those colors, in those ensembles, so that's very strong, but likely just the category 3, category 4 there of Kirk, and then it goes north to the Atlantic. Might need to watch for Europe, but by October 10th it has these ensembles going like towards dangerously close to the Caribbean. Most of them are like curving north around there, but some are lower further south, very close to the Caribbean by October 10th. So we really need to watch that for the Caribbean. But there's like some near Africa too, but very low support, and there's a little bit of support for the Gulf too. So something might get going there, a depression or a weak storm. There's the GFS. It takes all of the systems out into the Atlantic, so this is until October 10th. It doesn't have almost anything close to the Caribbean. It takes everything out into the Atlantic, some strong systems, and some support for the Gulf and the Eastern Pacific, but not that much support. So be aware there. And let's see. Here, so for example, precipitation, North Atlantic, good. So it isn't working. I'll show you later. So let's see. This is the tropical cycle probability, like tropical cycle activity probability, including like cyclone genesis. So this like tropical storm probabilities, let's say like that. So there's Kirk there, and there's the other one behind it. So Kirk is 100% of course, and the other one behind it goes to like 70% by Sunday, and it's already an 80%. So it might even form before that, but it shows like some high probabilities there. Then it keeps going, but by October 12th, it does show this passing very close to the northeastern Caribbean. So better watch that very closely. And let's see. So this is now, there's Isaac there, it's dying. There's Kirk and Joyce there. So and that's the next, yeah, because it shows this system here, yeah, and like the Canadian had it passing very close to the Caribbean. So yeah, be aware. And in the Gulf, there's like some probabilities on the Eastern Pacific and the Gulf, 20%. Then it keeps growing in the Eastern Pacific, some 30% near Mexico, some 50% by October 6th, some like 20 to 30% in the Gulf by the 7th and the 10th. Nothing crazy. This is tropical storm. If I put tropical depression probabilities, Kirk, of course, there, and Joyce is dying. There's Isaac, and this is the next system, right? 100% tropical depression by October 3rd. It has already like 70 to 80% chance in the Gulf there of tropical depression, but that there's still some uncertainty if that will form or not. So don't pay much attention to like the numbers, the probability, but be aware. On the Eastern Pacific, all the way up to an 80%. So let's see. And it stays at an 8 in the Eastern Pacific, like 90 almost, and like 70 to 80 in the Gulf. Then it goes there and kind of dissipates. Might leave some rain in Florida there by October 9th, a storm or something. So be aware. And there's Kirk and the next system. The next system goes, passes very close to the Caribbean, like on October 9th to October 12th. So please be aware. Some stuff near Africa or the Gulf later to watch. So be aware, we'll keep monitoring. There's also the hurricane probabilities. That's Kirk, and then it goes to all the way to 60%, of course, because it'll be a major hurricane, and 70%. And the next system starting to show some slight hurricane probabilities there, and all the way to like a 30%. Then you'll be the one that passes very close to the Caribbean, but elsewhere, nothing crazy. So we'll keep monitoring that very closely, but be aware. But now, let's see, in terms of rainfall, be aware like in Central America and Mexico, the heavy rains, and like especially Guatemala, the European showing like a lot, more than 200 millimeters, southern Mexico, so there might be heavier downpours there across southern Mexico, like 70 to 90 millimeters. Near the Gulf, it shows like close to 100 and even more. Wait, let's see, 132, 164 millimeters. So be aware. These next 5 days, if I put just next 3 days, shows a little bit less, of course, but it shows some in Mexico, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, some in Honduras, but more western Nicaragua. In the next 5 days, it shows a little bit more Nicaragua, El Salvador, maybe some storms in Honduras, so be aware in those areas. And yeah, some more rain, some storms through southwestern Mexico. Northern Mexico is quiet, but southwestern Mexico, be aware. The Yucatan might be a storm or two, some showers and some storms, and shows near Cuba close to 90 millimeters next 5 days, some more storms for Cuba. Some showers in the Bahamas, a storm or two in the Turks and Caicos, and some storms in Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, some showers as well, but nothing crazy. The Caribbean show like some showers, some passing showers next 5 days, so nothing crazy, but be aware of a storm or two. The GFS shows a lot in Mexico there, in Guatemala, shows more in Florida too until next Saturday, potentially from this system. Shows some showers in the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, some storms near Cuba, even some storms near the Cayman Islands possible. In Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, some passing showers in the Caribbean. In Panama, it shows like some 50 millimeters, some passing storms and showers, so be aware because those tropical downpours could be heavy. Like in Costa Rica, some more showers and storms. Nicaragua, more in western Nicaragua, there can be showers everywhere. In El Salvador, 60 millimeters. In Honduras, some 40, 50 millimeters, maybe some more storms, but there in Guatemala and Mexico, more than 200 is like 300 millimeters in southern Mexico. So please be aware there. Let's see, Guatemala more than 100, southern and western Guatemala, more like northern Guatemala. So be aware. And further like east, northeastern Guatemala's just some passing showers and storms, but nothing crazy. But like southwestern Guatemala and Mexico, there can be some flooding. Please be careful. There's Acapulco, 200 millimeters by the GFS as well, 79 millimeters and more rain there. In the Gulf portion, shows a lot near the Gulf as well, more than 140 millimeters and more storms for those areas. So please stay safe. The icon has like a lot as well near Mexico, Guatemala. Some areas more than 100 millimeters, so be aware. And a similar thing in those areas. And you can see all those systems there like a split pathway in both those systems, and one system there and the other goes north. Very clear paths with this accumulation. That's interesting. And be aware, be careful in those areas. So let's just see what the Eastern Pacific has to offer. There's already an area of high percent chance there and a low one. So 70 and 20% chance there. An area of low pressure expected to develop off the coast of southwestern Mexico during the next day or so. After that, environmental conditions are expected to be generally conducive for additional development. Tropical depression likely to form the middle layer portion of this week. The disturbance forecast to meander near just offshore the coast for much of the forecast, and then begin to move slowly west-northwest parallel to the coast of Mexico this weekend. Regardless of the development, this is expected to cause very heavy rain and additional flooding in those areas, so please be careful, like I showed you before. And there's this weaker system here, so like 20% chance, might try to become something later next week, but it shows mainly regardless of development, the heavy rainfall, so please be careful. Guatemala, Mexico, the Central Pacific, mainly quiet, and please be aware there. I'll just, let's see, say this in Spanish as well for them, so let's see. Olá, va a haber mucha lluvia en Guatemala y México por los sistemas tropicales en el Pacífico, entonces más de 100-200 milímetros posiblemente en el Pacífico de Guatemala, y hay otro modelo que muestra más de 300 milímetros al sur de México, de 380, muestra casi 500 milímetros al sur de México, ¿sí? Y hay este modelo aqui, más tormentas en América Central, Guatemala, más lluvias y tormentas, pero precauciones en México, poco más lluvia fuerte y tormentas con estos sistemas. No serán, creo que no serán huracanes tremendos ni nada, pero causarán bastante lluvia muy fuerte. Y también precauciones con las altas temperaturas al norte oeste de México, 39, casi 40 grados, assim, principalmente al extremo norte, más de 44 grados, precauciones, 42 grados, y esto. Good. So, stay safe from those systems, and let's just maybe see some models for the Eastern Pacific. So, just to see if any hurricanes expected, but I think it'll be a weak system. So let's see. There's the Eastern Pacific. The GFS shows like all the moisture there. We already saw before, but let's see again. So it shows the system there very weak, but scraping the coastal western Mexico, leaving a lot of heavy rain. So it will mainly be like that The European too has like, let's see if it loads or not, or the Canadian if it goes faster. Let's see. I don't think it will work. Oh, here, yes, it did. So the Canadian has like a low pressure there, trying to form into something, and then there might be a depression or a storm, but the Canadian forms out there and takes us all the way towards Mexico again and kind of makes landfall. So we need to monitor that. There's the icon, a lot of heavy rain there on the Gulf side as well. Then if just meanders there, very weak and brings more heavy rain. So be careful in those areas. The European has this meandering there, very weak system, it might be a depression or something, and more heavy rain. So please be careful there and stay safe with this system. So we will keep monitoring all of the systems and be aware.